A full Major League Baseball card on this Tuesday. And what a marquee midweek matchup we have in the city of brotherly love in Philadelphia. Donnie Rightside, full attention on the bank. Citizens Bank Ballpark in Philly for the opener tonight between the Phillies and the Dodgers. The two best teams in the National League, the two best records, the two shortest prices to win the pennant, two of the three best numbers to win the World Series. Are we seeing an NLCS preview right here, right now, a week out from the All-Star break? The Phils with Zack Wheeler on the bump, a slight home favorite tonight at minus 142 against the LA Dodgers. 9 is the total. Again, DRS, I said I will check the numbers. I haven't done that just yet. I will right now. The Dodgers rarely booked as an underdog, so it shows what Philadelphia is capable of. What do you expect tonight for the first game of this midweek series between the Dodgers and the Phillies?
It's Zack Wheeler versus Bobby Miller. If you're the Phillies, you got to have this game. You had the day off yesterday here to sort of decompress. We're expected to get Kyle Schwarber back in that lineup at the top here, and he was on a mission before getting injured against the Miami Marlins. Now, also it has in the anticipated lineup today Bryce Harper. He's eligible to come off the IL. Most people don't think he's going to come off the IL for tonight's game, but Kyle Schwarber certainly should be able to do that. That's going to help, because the one thing that we do know about Bobby Miller, last 30 days of Major League Baseball, not a very good pitcher, particularly against left-handed batters. So if you want a nice soft landing spot for Kyle Schwarber to come back at home with 91-degree temperatures and a double-digit wind blowing out to dead center field, this is the night for Kyle Schwarber. The Phillies should get a good home start from Zack Wheeler. If we're taking a look at some of those betting splits that we like to take a look at, today on the card, 24-25 pitchers, let's just say, are ranked here. Home starter, Zack Wheeler is number 2. How about this, Ben? If you take a look at his season so far, a 1.76 ERA at home for Zack Wheeler. He should be able to hold down those bats despite being in a hitter's ballpark, great hitting weather. He should be doing the job tonight. Bobby Miller, I don't think he can do that same job. The Phillies need this victory tonight, because if they lose this one tonight and the Braves win and you burn Zack Wheeler, and now you're going to get better pitchers on the mound for the Dodgers and have them say, hey, maybe we should be at the top of the mountain now in the NL. The Phillies got to have this one tonight, and I believe they get it done.
A 7.5-game lead still for the Phils atop the National League East. A 3.5-game difference for the Phillies in front of LA for that top spot overall in the National League. Of course, in the extended postseason bracket that we have come October in MLB, the top 2 seeds earn an opening round bye past the wild card round into the division series. Donnie, when you look at the numbers for both of these teams, the Dodgers have the second best record in the NL and yet remain the favorites at plus 150. The Phillies, the best record in the National League, all of Major League Baseball, second best price to win the National League, second best price to win the World Series. Is this the National League Championship Series that we will see come late October?
Undoubtedly it should be there, no question in my mind, because let's be honest with ourselves. The Philadelphia Phillies, we're not anticipating any devastating season-long injuries to happen. If they're healthy, they have the best starting staff and maybe the best 1 through 9 lineup in Major League Baseball and a quality bullpen. The Los Angeles Dodgers, they're going to get Mookie Betts back, who might be the best player in Major League Baseball. And they already have maybe the best player in Major League Baseball right now on their team in Shohei Ohtani. And we do know the Dodgers have endless prospects and endless cash flow, where if they want to pick up the 2 best pitchers at the trade deadline in Major League Baseball that would be available, they can do that as well. We're not too long off for us. Hey, Dodgers, how can you prove yourself at the deadline? I don't know. Max Scherzer and Trey Turner in their prime at one time, they have the ability to do that. Correct me if I'm wrong. It wasn't Manny Machado at Los Angeles Dodgers. I mean, it's insane how much talent that the Dodgers have had in the past just by making moves at the trade deadline.
It is. And they're probably going to do it again if they feel it is necessary to maybe fill out that frontline starting staff to keep up with Philadelphia, because that's where I give the edge to the Phils at this moment. Elsewhere, the Atlanta Braves, third best price to win the National League pennant at plus 450, $2 behind the Phils, $3 behind LA. Continue their series out in Arizona, looking for their second consecutive win over the Diamondbacks, hoping for their fourth consecutive victory overall. We thought it was going to be Chris Sale yesterday. It is projected to be Chris Sale today. But with Sale on the bump, yesterday it was a minus 196 price against the Diamondbacks because the starter, not all that illustrious. Today, Zach Gallen gets the start for Arizona, only minus 124, the updated number in favor of Atlanta.
Yeah, by the way, I might be taking a look at an underdog shot here today on the Diamondbacks. How could you do that against Chris Sale? Zach Gallen is a very good pitcher, and I'm still not trustworthy of that Atlanta Braves lineup. And also, maybe just looking at an under the total might be the best route. You take a look at that game last night, which we didn't have two spectacular pitchers on both sides. That game was 3-1 entering into the ninth inning. That's a stone-cold under that got tied up, and a couple extra runs and extras pushed that one over the total. I don't think that's actually going to happen in this game. I would look towards the under and also a slight underdog price on Zach Gallen at home in a bounce-back performance here against the Atlanta Braves.
Plus 106. Now that updated number on Arizona, 7.5 is the total. Of course, they went to extras yesterday, 11 innings to go over the game total of 8 and a hook after Chris Sale was bumped. Sale has been sensational this year, by the way. Just truly outstanding. Almost a career renaissance, or do we say renaissance here? Renaissance for Chris Sale this year in the ATL because of what he has done for the Braves. 11-3 with a 2.71 ERA. Second best price on Sale to win the National League Cy Young Award at this moment. Donnie, Sale has allowed just one earned run in each of his last 3 starts. That's why the total 7.5 in Phoenix today.
Yeah, no, it's a good point that you bring up here, but let's also bring up the point over the last 30 days. This has been a very good hitting team for the Arizona Diamondbacks against left-handed pitching. We'll see if that plays out. I still don't think, what's that mean, a lot of hits? 2 runs, 3 runs off of Chris Sale, so I still do think that this game does stay under the total, but we do need a pronunciation here because it is Renaissance in the United States, I guess. In Scotland, maybe the way that they pronounce the country club name will be different. We need an official ruling on that, so maybe we can get somebody behind the scenes to check that one out for us.
It felt like Donnie announcing the game tomorrow, the Wednesday semifinal in Copa America between Colombia and who?
Uruguay.
Beautiful.
That's my team.
Renaissance Golf Club, a renaissance for Chris Sale, and more MLB breakdowns next. The New York Yankees in the last month or so of Major League Baseball have been in a tailspin. Once the best in the bigs, 50-22 on June 14th, nearly 30 games above 500. They have lost 15 of their last 20 from that time. They, in fact, lost the weekend against their bitter rivals and AL East divisional foes, the Boston Red Sox. Can the Yankees find their footing once again down in Florida in the Trop against the Rays? Minus 130, the price for the Yanks as a slight road favorite, although the line is now working. Minus 122 against the Pinstripes today in the opener against the Rays. 8 is the over-under. Will the Yankees, DRS, ahead of the All-Star break with just 6 games left until we get to the break, start playing better baseball?
They better start playing better baseball because this isn't like, hey, let's not let our lead dwindle here, Ben. It's not let us get behind 5 games before we get to the break when just a few short weeks ago we were in full control of this division. But if we are taking a look at the pitching matchup over the last 60 days, Ben, how about this? 103 and 103 xFIP minus numbers for each pitcher here. Carlos Rodon and Ryan Pepiot on the mound today. If we are taking a look at some of those numbers, which are troubling for Rodon, the one thing that we do like here is this game is not being played in the Bronx for Rodon, where it might be 90 degrees with the wind blowing out. You're playing at the Trop, which is one of the better pitchers' ballparks in Major League Baseball. Having said that, look at his last 30 days, 122 batters he's faced, a 279 ISO and a 426 weighted on base percentage combined, and also both lefties and righties pounding him as a pitcher, which is tough because you take a look at the lineup. It's not very good for Tampa Bay, but they've done well against left-handed pitching with a couple guys here, Ben. Yandy Diaz, Randy Arozarena, Isaac Paredes, and Jose Siri crushing left-handed pitching over the past month. Flip it over to the New York Yankees. Of course, we have the steady players. You take a look at Ryan Pepiot. Over the last 30 days, 51 batters he's faced as a right-handed pitcher against lefties, a 279 ISO and a 429 weighted on base percentage. So then you would look at Ben Rice at the top of that lineup, Juan Soto, Alex Verdugo, Austin Wells are some of those guys that you want to put in the mix here for RBI opportunities. And certainly, you're not going to leave out Aaron Judge, who, no matter lefty or righty pitchers, he's been crushing them. But that offense, for me, really has to turn up. It's not a great place for them to turn up. This is a true coin flip, and the Yankees really need a victory. Maybe if you're looking and saying, okay, Both of these pitchers, even though it's a pitching environment here, can be hit here. The xFIP minus numbers slightly over above average. Two of these lineups making some sense here. Maybe an over makes sense, but I can't just say the Yankees need it. They have to win here. They haven't shown me much here, Ben, over the past week and a half.
No, they certainly have not. The Yanks, a road favorite, but now 3 games back of Baltimore for the top spot in the American League East. And oh, by the way, they will end the first half, or at least the part of the season prior to the All-Star break, against Baltimore, inside Camden Yards this weekend before the All-Star break starts on Monday. Speaking of those O's, they're in Camden. They're feeling pretty good, and they're a minus 154 favorite today to start off their midweek set against the Chicago Cubs. What do you like today in the Charm City?
Yeah, this isn't setting up all that well for the Chicago Cubs right now. Certainly not playing great baseball. But if you're just going 1 through 9 on each roster that's supposed to be in the starting lineup tonight, it's by a mile the Baltimore Orioles. If you take a look at Jamison Tyone, he actually has some pretty good statistics on the season. And particularly here, Ben, over the past 30 days, 125 batters he's faced, a 126 ISO, and a 250 weighted on base percentage. Why? He's been filthy against left-handed batters, but struggling just a bit against righties, and you got some pretty good power bats. But having said that, the one thing that you typically like about the Orioles and why they're so good at the plate is a lot of left-handed batters and a lot of switch hitters to go up against those right-handed pitchers. Just take a look at the first 4 guys in that lineup. Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Anthony Santander, and Ryan O'Hearn will be all lefties, followed by Westberg, who's a righty. Then you jump right back to Kierstad there as a lefty, and also still in that lineup, Cedric Mullins in the 8 hole. This is a predominantly left-handed lineup when I just told you that Jamison Tyone has been filthy against left-handed batters. Look at the temperatures, though. Here's what's tough. I just told you about Philadelphia. Almost identical conditions, Ben. 91 degrees at first pitch, double-digit winds blowing out in a hitter's ballpark. But I look at this game to myself and say, I don't know what I'm getting out of the Cubs at the plate. I know I'm going to get decent at-bats for the Orioles. Maybe an under. They need 10 to hit that total. Maybe it stays under the 9.5 here.
We had a big-time under yesterday in Detroit. The Tigers, watch out. One of the hottest teams in MLB. Winners of 4 in a row. They knocked off the AL's best team yesterday, the Guardians. Cleveland now 56-33, a half game behind Baltimore for that best record. The O's 57-33 in the American League. 1-0. Yesterday was the final as the Tigers were victorious. Today, the total 8.5. And the Guardians, a road favorite in the Motor City once again. Now we turn our attention from basketball back to the baseball diamond. A full Tuesday card around MLB. DRS, we talked about this game. We showed the odds early for the matchup in the Motor City between the Guardians and the Tigers. 1-0. That was the victory yesterday for Detroit. 4 straight wins for the Tigers, and they scored the lone run of the game on a throwing error that allowed Jake Rogers to cross home plate and give the Tigers the victory. What might we see today in the Motor City?
Yeah, you better see some offense here for the Cleveland Guardians. You take a look at Kenta Maeda, certainly not one of those pitchers that you're looking to back on the bump. Now, granted, over the past 30 days, he has been a little bit better than the full season schedule. If we take a look at his full season, Ben, 277 batters he's faced, a 226 ISO, and a 378 weighted on base percentage combined. That's not very good. If we take a look at him and just go with some of those home splits that he has, it's been an average season for him. A 371 ERA, which isn't bad, but a 4.5 plus number here on his xFIP number. So we should get more than 0 runs today for the Cleveland Guardians. I mean, come on now. Ben Lively on the opposite side, who's going to get the start here for the Guardians, has some decent numbers, particularly against left-handed batters over the past 30 days, Ben. An 069 weighted on base ISO power number and a 275 weighted on base percentage here. They should win today. They should have won yesterday. But if Kenta Maeda goes 5 or 6 innings pitched with 2 run earns or less, that should be troubling here for the Guardians. But I don't think that happens. I think the bats wake up today for the Guardians, and they put them away.
A little Midwest rivalry matchup for a 2-game set under the arch. The Show Me State Showdown in St. Louis, Missouri. It's the Cardinals hosting the Royals in St. Louis. A slight favorite for the opener of this 2-game midweek set today. Minus 118, that money line. Number 7.5 is the over-under. What do you like in St. Louis?
Yeah, well, take a look at Michael Wacha on the mound today. Or let me just go back here and let's do it. Okay, let's start Michael Wacha here, Kansas City Royals. Here's the issue. 70-degree temperatures, which again isn't freezing, but we look at the East Coast here, Ben, 95-plus temperatures and wind blowing out. Rain in the forecast, which includes thunderstorms and also blowing in from left field, 15-mile-an-hour plus sustained winds. Not great for the ball to carry. And Waka, over the past 30 days, very good, Ben. A 133 ISO power number to weighted on-base percentage of 275 through 68 batters. That's really, really good against a Cardinals lineup that has been okay as of late. If we take a look at the other side, how about Andrew Palante? 103 batters, Ben, he's faced over the past 30 days. Get this, an 096 ISO and a 294 weighted on-base percentage. And if we just take a look at lefty batters, since he's a righty pitcher, an 065 ISO and a 240 weighted on base percentage. That's good. Now, granted, take a look at that Kansas City lineup. Against right-handed pitching over the past month, they've been really good. Adam Frazier due to lead off tonight, not so good. But after that, Witt, Pasquantino, Perez, Massey, Renfroe, Melendez, and Kyle Isbell, everybody above their ISO power number of 165, which is above average in Major League Baseball. That'll be interesting to watch. But if I'm just looking at Wack on the mound on one side, Palante on the other side, wind blowing in with some rainy conditions and not all that hot out in Kansas City, St. Louis, let's take a look at some of those unders today in that ballpark.
To Mizzou we go, and now out west we go to San Diego. The Padres, they have won 12 of their last 17 games. The Mariners, opposite end of that coin, they have dropped 9 of their last 13, holding on by the strings to a 2-game lead in the American League West. And yet the Mariners, a road favorite today with the All-Star Logan Gilbert on the bump at a minus 138 moneyline price. Total of 7.5 in Southern California. What's the breakdown between the M's and the Padres?
We got a big mismatch on the mound here. Now, granted, you still need an offensive lineup to take care of that mismatch. We'll get to that in just a few moments here. But Logan Gilbert has been very good. Past 60 days, you take a look at a 3.75 ERA and equate that to a 3.65 xFIP number. He should be just fine in San Diego, a true pitcher's ballpark. Over the past 30 days, a 146 ISO and a 235 weighted on base percentage. Flip it over quickly to Adam Mazur. He does nothing good right now. And the worst pitcher on the card last 60 days, Ben, a 7.52 ERA coupled with a 6.12 xFIP. Get out of town.
More baseball breakdowns and a best bet next. For already like the 4th time this year, Blake Snell is back tonight in San Francisco for the Giants. This mic is going crazy right now. Blake Snell gets the start by the Bay for the Giants against the Toronto Blue Jays. The overall record for Blake Snell this year in 6 total starts, 0-3 with a 9.51 ERA. He started the year in April, got shelled in 3 outings, 15 earned runs, missed a month till the end of May. Wasn't great there in 2 starts, 7 earned in total. His most recent, June 2nd at home against the Yankees. Now it's been over a month, and Blake Snell is back again. What can we expect out of Snell in San Francisco tonight?
Hopefully good things, but let's also take a look at the opposite side with the Toronto Blue Jays. You take a look at that price point here, minus 122. You say, hold on now. Blake Snell versus Yusei Kikuchi, and the home team is the Giants, and we're not favored by more than that, raises some eyebrows. And also, let's take a look at the analytical approach, Ben, versus the non-analytical approach. What has already happened on the field? Not is what we had the expectations, right? 99 batters over the past 30 days for Yusei Kikuchi, a 242 ISO power number and a 387 weighted on base percentage. And get this, to left-handed batters, he's a left-handed pitcher, a 458 ISO and a weighted on base percentage of 462 over his last 26 batters. That is insane for a lefty going up against left-handed batters. Right-handed batters, still decent, 164 ISO, which is right about average, but a 361 weighted on base percentage. But let's take a look at the season and encapsulated here, Ben. You take a look at that, it is a 346 xFIP number for road starts for Yusei Kikuchi. So what's going to give tonight? Is it the most recency bias that we have over the past 100 batters and say he should get hammered? And also, the first 4 guys in the lineup tonight, all right-handed batters, Soler, Matos, Ramos, and Chapman. Everybody's elevated with ISO power numbers. They should get to him. But also, as you talked about, what are we getting out of Blake Snell tonight? On the season, 119 batters faced. Not very good. But this is a start coming back after an extended layoff. You can't just sit back and say he's going to be his dominant self. Dominant as in what? He wasn't that dominant before he went to the IL, now coming back. This is one of those games I'm probably going to sit out at this point because Kikuchi, decent numbers on the road. Snell, I have no idea what he's going to do. It might have been different, but it was like, man, he was on top of the world pitching before he went to the IL. That never was the case with Snell this year.
No, he's given up at least 3 earned runs in all 6 starts that he has made. He's 0-3 with a 9.51 ERA. Let's get to one final game before we give you a best bet. In Houston, the Astros a minus 225 favorite against one of the worst teams in the National League. That's the Miami Marlins, and you see that large money line distinction. 8.5 is the total. DRS on FanDuel, it says the Astros have yet to name their starter. What are you seeing?
It looks like Ronel Blanco is what we're gathering right now. Blanco certainly is a better pitcher this season, or at least the last 60 days, than Trevor Rogers. If you take a look at Trevor Rogers, a 115 xFIP minus number, and that equates to an xFIP of 4.60, so not very good. But if we are taking a look at that lineup, Blanco, if he is the starter, he's done fairly well over the past 30 days. 122 batters he's faced, a 260 weighted on base percentage, which is pretty good. And you take a look at that lineup, boy, it leaves a lot to be desired here, Ben, for the Marlins. So for my money, of course, you're thinking a minus 200 favorite or better is going to win. But having said that, maybe even looking at more of an under at this point in this game. But no real feel for this other than, yes, the Astros should win.
Houston lost the final 2 games of its weekend set in Minneapolis against the Twins to lose that series. But before the final 2, including the opener against Minnesota, they had won 13 of their last 15. Now, before we say farewell, it's time for a best bet. Before we say goodbye, here's bye. A full Major League Baseball card on this Tuesday. What is the best of all the baseball bets in Donnie's estimation?
It's Stinger Tuesday here at the FanDuel Sportsbook. Let's keep with the home runs. We're going to go that launch pad up in Boston. Joey Estes can't get left-handed batters out, so you know who we're squaring up here. That's Rafael Devers. And how about over the past 65 at-bats against right-handed pitching? A 411 ISO power number, a plus 210 price today for Rafael Devers to hit a home run in Boston. It's a low price for a reason. He's going yard tonight, boys.
DRS, I love the look. It's Stinger Tuesday. Let me give you one as well. Why not?
Let's go.
Gunnar Henderson, plus 450 for the Orioles. You said it's warm in Camden, right? Against Jamison Tyone?
It's warm, baby. It's warm.
We'll take a look at that. I also think the Guardians bounce back. Don't think you're paying the most on that money line. Minus 144 on the road in Detroit.